Saturday, July 18th, we're in Napa Valley, a little up on the Silverado Trail, at a little tiny winery called Botion. But I'm sitting here with my longtime friend in Napa, Doug Danielek, who has been making wine here for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And I first met him when he was making the wines at White Rock and then Jade Mountain. And now he makes some wines at Paris Vineyard, which is up at Mount Vida in Napa Valley. What I want to, I guess, press upon you today, or describe to you today, is that Napa Valley is made up of what we call in French lieux-dits, or a bunch of little vineyard, little parcel sites. You have Mount Vida, Mayacamas, you've got parts of Howell Mountain, and what Paris does is it's all estate grown up on up on Mount Vida, and the wines are truly distinctive and truly unique. I think Douglas, we're tasting. What are we tasting? The estate 807 barrel sample.
Yeah, this is a sample of the 2007 Estate Bordeaux blend, which is Petit Verdot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Malbec.
Okay. This is, I mean, if I put this in a blind tasting, I would think it would be Bordeaux. I'd think it's Pauillac or some great Palmer. This stuff is truly delicious. It's thoughtful, it's got great acidity, great backbone, and drinkable now, but I think for sure, 5, 10, 15 years down the road in your cellar. Let's go and taste it, see what it's like.
Sure.
No, I don't know if you're supposed to drink on YouTube or on video, but I'm going to do it anyway, because this wine's so good. By no means is it a puppy. Doug, you want to explain a little bit about this wine?
Sure. Where we are in Mount Vida is sort of the southern edge, the mountain range on the west side of Napa Valley, but the sort of southern beginning point for the Gold Coast of Cabernet in Napa Valley. So it's a little bit cooler than most sites, and what that's going to translate to is terrific acidity. The mountain site adds a good deal of structure and tannin to the wine, and that makes the wines from Mount Vida among the most ageable of all the appellations of Napa. So if you do retrospectives and taste wines 10, 20, 30 years out, what we find is that many of the wines that are produced on the valley floor are very consistent and delicious for the first 10 to 15 years. And then the wines that are produced in the mountain appellations, that's Mount Vida, Spring Mountain, Howell Mountain, then start to dominate the tasting after the 10-year mark and go up to 30. Some of our neighbors have wines that are tasting delicious from the late 60s and early 70s.
Wow. Well, I mean, I've only had less than a handful of opportunities, a couple handfuls of opportunities to taste old California wines from BV, not necessarily Heights, but some of these Inglenoaks. And they sourced a lot of their wine out from the mountain because they knew what it could do, and they put it in with some of the fruit that they got from the valley floor. Is this correct?
That's correct. And one of the things they looked for in those blends, and even larger wineries, when they're looking to make their reserve blends, they come to the mountain sites to look for structure and base out of places like Mount Vida, where they'll add 10-25% to give it some ageability. And we had recently some wines from our neighbor up at Mayacamas.
Yeah.
We were drinking 68, 69, 70, and 71, and they were fresher than the Latour of the same vintages.
Yeah. Oh, I've had 70 Latour. It's good, but I relish to put that up against 1970 Mayacamas.
Sure.
So this is a 2007. It's going to be bottled when?
This is going to be bottled. Normally, you can count on a typical Cabernet spending 18, 20 months in barrel. This is such a potentially outstanding vintage, and also a strong vintage, that we're going to leave it over 24 months. So we will probably be bottling this in November of 2009.
Okay.
But you can see the wine is still quite young, very youthful, purple all the way to the rim, and very, very structured wine. One of the things that we found on our particular site that I think distinguishes this wine a little bit is that when you look at the 5 principal Bordeaux grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, those are the two that people know most, and then there's Cabernet Franc, Malbec, and Petit Verdot. For us, we've relied on Cabernet, and the two lesser known, the Petit Verdot and the Malbec,
Right.
because they ripen at a much more even pace and at an earlier time for
Okay.
us on Mount Veeder.
Okay.
So for us, those three grapes out of the five play a much bigger role in an overall
Okay.
Bordeaux blend. But one of the things you never lose with any of the varieties is the typicity of the mountain signature, and that the wines are very big, very full-bodied, and built to age.
Okay. Hopefully this will be in the store, I would say early part of 2010, if any trucks can get through the Olympics. So we'll see, but cheers, and look forward to sharing the glass with all you guys of some Paris Mount Veeder Estate Cabernet.
And this will be ready when the Canucks win the Stanley Cup.
And when I have here, cheers.